Hey, everybody. Welcome to Melman Podcast. My name is Zach Marzo.
David Melman.
And David Melman is here with us. Very special guest here today. I'm very excited. I met Joe a while back, got connected through, I believe, the Greater North Fulton Chamber. Joe himself is a speaker and certified professional sales and leadership coach with Southwestern Consulting, I believe now Southwestern Coaching.
Correct.
Is that correct? Awesome. Joe specifically specializes in teaching ethical sales techniques and strategies to both individuals and teams that, people can use immediately to enhance sales. It's all about, improving the sales process. And, Joe's been an expert in that. He was actually served on the board of directors for the Business Marketing Association himself. He's been, speaker on other radio shows. And I actually like this quote, Joe. I want to read it, that the philosophy that, you live by, and we can talk a little bit more about this, is think big, be fearless, live life every day, deliver extraordinary value, and laughter is contagious. I really like that. When I had read it, I think that, those points just within that sentence is really, important for people to think about and realize, because at the end of the day, every day is, a blessing, right? And, we're here to do what we love. And I'm just happy to have you on and really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come here.
Yeah,
it's
my pleasure.
But yeah, formally or informally, tell us a little bit more about Southwestern, maybe what you do day to day, how you got here, and I want to just let our conversation naturally flow from there.
Sounds great, Zach. Well, thanks very much for the invitation. Sure. And I am a speaker. I'm a professional sales and leadership coach. And when we say certified, that's really, really important, because there are a lot of people that are out there that say, hey, I'm a coach.
Sure.
But I actually had to invest time, effort, energy, resources to become certified. And it's quite a process. It really is. And that's okay, because I think it adds credibility to who I am, what I do, and how I can serve my clients.
Sure.
So at the end of the day, I introduced coaching by doing what is called an immediate results workshop, where we actually, on the fly, because of COVID-19,
Sure.
had to make the adjustment of doing in-person workshops. So I would come into your office and work with you, the sales leader, or the leader of the company, the CEO, and put together a really awesome workshop. We actually customize it. So if you're struggling with time management, we'll focus on that. If we're struggling, or your team is struggling with answering objections, we'll focus on that. Mm-hmm. Okay? See where we're headed here?
Sure. Yeah, it's great
of course.
To clean it up.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's very, very true.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's very much needed in business, I would say, because to walk into somebody's door and it to be 100% perfect is probably very rare.
Exactly.
So if you have your set of eyes looking at it from a different point of view, sure, you can find a lot of different things to make better.
Sure.
And that's why we're all experts, if you will. You're an expert attorney, and
No, my wife is. I do the operations there. Marina Melman's the founder. I just run the operations there.
Okay.
It's okay, just for the record.
No worries. Now I know.
No, it's okay.
Just as important as any of the attorneys we have at Melman Law Group are the people, kind of in the background. There's a lot of legal documentation and stuff. It's kind of over my head, but we're more at the front lines of customer service, client service, putting out fires, dealing with objections. If there's a big objection, David's kind of the go-to. Hey, let's level with this person and figure out how to make them happy.
There you go.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But do you think, what is the biggest objection for people that you reach out to that, everybody, like you said, is a coach? Southwestern obviously has a very big history and background of producing awesome coaches and people to help. I guess what is an objection that most people would give to you to say, yeah, well, we don't necessarily need that, or how do you even overcome that to prove to them that we can actually help? Being certified and having the backing of this company, like, you don't really need to look anywhere else.
Sure. So the foundation behind Southwestern, or the Southwestern family of companies, is we've been around for 165 years.
Wow.
Now, the coaching division has been around for 12 to 13 years.
Okay.
And so really, we rely on those principles. And we have taken that and evolved that into our coaching program, where we work with CEOs, sales leaders, top producers, entrepreneurs. And it can be in any type of business. It can be a law firm. It can be insurance. It can be car salesmen, home sales. I work with a lot of people in the mortgage and insurance industries, and have had a lot of great success. In fact, Melanie Henn is one of my clients with Fairway Mortgage out in Colorado Springs.
Cool.
She was really struggling, and it got down to the basics. And it's her schedule and her activity, and this is where I come in as a coach. And this is where coaches in our company can really help people become better at what they do. And it gets down to where you're allocating your time, if you will, focusing on your income-producing activities.
Right. We talk about that often too, like if David or myself are dealing with, I don't know, a headache that maybe someone else should be dealing with, or something you can touch on, and you might be thinking, we have a lot of, our team of 9 employees,
10,
right? There'll be things that happen and they feel like they have to communicate it to Marina or to David, like every single thing that happens. And he's like, I can't hear all these good things that are happening. Like that's kind of their job. I need to be focusing on these revenue producing activities. But it's hard to kind of distinguish that and tell your team, hey, I don't need to know if this person finally answered the phone. That's incredible. I need to focus on this. But how do you do that without being a jerk, as opposed to being kind of a leader, which, we can talk about in a little bit more of the management versus leadership, which I think you guys, help with a lot as well, kind of distinguishing that and working more on developing leadership skills and qualities as opposed to being a manager or a boss, right?
Right.
And so with that, time management itself, like you said, is it breaking down somebody's day to day and then trying to find holes or kind of areas for improvement? Is that what you guys will do without, giving away too much? Is that, looking at their schedule, seeing what they're doing, what they're not doing, and, developing some hard-lined, schedule for that person or that leader?
So we've all heard of time blocking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay. And part of it is being a true student of the game. And think about your high school schedule where, say, from 10 to 10:50, you were in math, 11 to 11:50, science, etc., okay? And that's where discipline comes in. And a lot of professionals, and people that are, if you will, average producers, this is where they get distracted. They really struggle and they can't focus on their income-producing activities. What is the thing or things that you should be focusing on as a professional? If you're a mortgage loan officer, where are you allocating your time, your resources? Is it really, truly, if you will, $400 an hour work that you're working on? Or are you focusing on that $20 an hour work where you're that busy work? This is where coaches can help you get past that. And sometimes it takes an outside voice to hear and listen and understand and get that guidance.
Plus an art of delegation, because you need to delegate at that point. If you're a one-man or woman operation, you have to do everything. You'll break it down maybe in different time windows, but in the end, you're still going to have to do every task. But now a team of 5, 10, 20, 30, where you have the option to delegate out, and everything is important. It's not like this part isn't as important as that, but to you specifically, it's more important, because if somebody else can be doing it and putting the whole puzzle together, then the whole thing, can come together more efficiently, and you can do more $100 an hour tasks, that can produce more revenue, et cetera, et cetera. But it's the art of delegation too, I feel, but also having the right team. You can go in there and talk to somebody, but if the other parts of the puzzle aren't there, how do you overcome that?
Sure. And I guess that's the difference between management and leadership. And here's how I'd like you to think about this, is that if you're a manager, you're managing things. You're managing activities. If you're a leader, you're leading people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It does.
So what happens is that you can share and tell people how to do something, but sometimes it's just a matter of training them on the art of delegation, if you will, and that is actually a science. Some people think, hey, let me just give this to you, and if you can get this done.
Right, sure.
It doesn't work that way. It's not quite that easy. And so if you really train somebody the right way, and this is what I do as a coach, I work with the CEO, and I'll say, you're getting calls at 7 o'clock in the morning for things that you should not be getting calls on. Derek Barksdale had that big trouble. He had 42 people that reported to him in his real estate industry, his real estate business out in California. And he said, Joe, I need to take another look at my schedule. He says, I've got to start to delegate these things. And so by doing that and really examining that activity is a big difference. And what I do is reverse engineer. let's look at it almost, what are your activities that you're doing on an annual basis? Quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. And by doing that and really focusing on that and helping you stay in line, if you will, and allowing other people to stay in their lane and have confidence in them really is a difference maker.
It's a game changer. And who wouldn't need this service, you would ask, if you're running a company, no matter the size of 5, 10, 40, 100. The art of delegation, you're not born with it immediately. I think you need to practice, and because you have variables in there you can't control, aka your emotions of different team members, right? You can't control how they react. One will react differently than the other. So it's the whole art of delegation, but then understanding who you're talking to make sure you can explain to them that way, where they'll get it that way, maybe this way to another person. It's a beautiful thing. It really fascinates me, honestly, because if I think the perfect team doesn't exist, but an amazing team does. It can't be perfect. And as a CEO or a leader or boss, whatever you want to call it, if you expect your team to always think like you, then you're out of it in your head, I think, because it's not theirs. And somebody once said, I think it was Gary V, and he said, don't expect anybody to love your child like it's yours. So why would you expect somebody to love your business like it's yours?
Absolutely.
Right. So if you can understand that and accept that, then you can work around there.
How do you get leaders, CEOs like David and Marina are very particular. You want things done a certain way because you want it to be incredible. But then when you delegate that and pass it along and it's just not kind of the same, it's hard to give the reins to kind of somebody else and trust. Like you said, there's huge trust there. That has to be tough when you talk to, CEOs to, I don't know, give, especially if it's their business, giving, that power away and being comfortable with letting somebody else kind of take the wheel. That has to be a big kind of hurdle for that kind of perfectionist type leader who's incredible, but in order to grow and move on to bigger things, you have to let somebody else kind of take care of a couple other of things, right?
I get that all the time, Zach, all the time. And I have so many leaders that say, Joe, how can I do this? How can I get past this? And because I'm so used to having and touching everything that I don't want a mistake. And that's the biggest challenge for leaders, is to let things go and trust other people. But if you put in the accountability measures, holding yourself accountable and holding the person that you're delegating to accountable, there's a process. And that's why through coaching, sometimes getting that outside perspective from somebody will make a difference. Think about this. I mean, did you ever play football or,
I did in high school, actually, yeah.
Okay. I kind of figured you're pretty solid guy there, Zach.
I wish I was still playing, but that my days are long gone.
Okay.
Two hand touch.
That's right. Yeah, no, in high school, I started actually when I was young, but I stopped playing. My career ended in high school, put it that way. But it was great. It was a great time.
But think about a coach that you worked with, or a band leader or somebody that was really inspirational in the things that they did, the things that they said, that perspective that they shared with you, that was a game changer for you.
It was incredible, Did you have the same coach for football as wrestling? Was Fumarelli your coach? Coach Fumarelli, great.
Because we actually went to
high school together,
which is where we met, and Fooms, we called him, Fumarelli. Shout out to Fumarelli if he somehow sees this. Coached wrestling and then coached football as well. And he was, he was a great guy.
Passionate, motivating, caring. You can go to him, right? He'll hold you and he'll hold you accountable too. We didn't make weight. Like you heard it.
Right.
Okay. But you knew that he still cared about you. That's the art, right? Doesn't mean you're angry and you have to walk on eggshells the whole day. But, I feel like if you have the right team, and I love my team and they're amazing, eventually they'll hold themselves accountable, where they don't work on fear. They work on passion and care, because they don't want to make the mistake, because they know they're better than that, And it was a great example with the coach, because that's what he taught,
Do you guys talk about different personalities in the office and such? Because it's hard to, like David's talking about, find, the right person that's responsible and maybe has some leadership qualities themselves, but maybe there's one thing that they, need to work on. Is it they stay late in the office and handle things, but, then they can't stop talking about, I don't know, something, or there's just something about, them that maybe 9 out of 10 things are great, but the 10th is kind of that kills it. But is that something that people ignore, or is that something you still try to work on? You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but
no
it's
one's
like,
perfect.
yeah.
You know,
Right.
And how do you get them there? I guess. And you have a brand that you with the years of your experience put together to have courses, I guess, and strategies and how you can improve. And I guess walk us through what got you into this, right? But then also, like Zach said, how do you try to change, or do you work with what you have and not change as in like, do you try to help? Because some people they don't take criticism well.
Absolutely.
Right.
So we've actually broken this down, and the CEO of our company, Dustin Hillis, has written an awesome book called Navigate. And we use those principles in our coaching program to help everybody at every level, whether you're a top producer or an average producer, if you're the CEO or if you're somebody that's an assistant, is being able to navigate around different personalities. Because if somebody who is, if you will, a fighter that says, hey, just give me the price, I don't want all the mumbo jumbo, just give me the price. Right. You want to give them their value proposition, where you have somebody that's that detective, if you will, that says, all right, I'm not only going to look at you, I'm going to shop here, I'm going to shop here, and they're very detail-oriented,
Sure.
and they're going to do their due diligence. So you have to navigate the way you, if you will, work with them versus anybody else. And everybody's different, and that's the really neat thing about our coaching program at Southwestern Consulting is we have everybody take a profile and navigate profile exam. We get them matched up with the right personality. It might be somebody that has the same experience as them, maybe the same background, but we want to make sure it's a good fit because it's all about making progress, not only professionally, but personally. I've had clients cry on coaching calls.
Yeah,
I've had clients say, Joe, I'm not sure if this is the right job for me. And that's okay. But it's all about working through that, and that's what makes our company a lot different. Is it's one-on-one coaching, where we have 2 calls a month, and we cater the call to exactly where they are in their business. If they're an average producer and they want to become a top producer, awesome. If they're a leader and they need to work on their skills as a leader, let's talk about that. Let's really dig in and find out where you want to go, and not have this cookie-cutter approach. This is where we meet you one-on-one.
Yeah, very customized to the person. You can't give the same approach to everybody, and it's nice that means you guys have to get to know the person you're talking to big time, you know, and then they're going to peel layers off of them. Nobody likes to talk about the bad things in their office or their personal world, but they better open up to you and be honest with you so you can do your job efficiently. If you're hearing half of the story from the person you're going to be coaching, how can you give them the full value of what you can give them? So I think it's important for them to be able to fully open up with you, and it's nice how you pair them up with somebody that might be similar to them, because you have to have a common ground where then you can open up from there.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing too, and that's why people have a coach.
Sure.
Is that they want to have somebody that they can trust, and it may not be in their organization. It might be the coach, where they're definitely going to be a little bit more transparent. I've had people tell me, hey, I'm looking for another job.
Yeah.
And I feel obligated that, if I need to help you do that, I've got the experience, I've got the resources, I've got the gray hair to share that with you. So
Sure. I like that.
You in your opening, you said ethical sales. I love the word, because typically you hear, we're going to teach you how to do great sales or improve your sales, but you use the word ethical. Out of curiosity, why that word? Why did that word stand out?
It's a powerful world, right?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of companies out there that, if you will, that use car salesman approach.
Sure.
We don't believe in that, and that leans back on our principles of meeting people where they are and really understanding and teaching the methodology and the systems, and that's what it's all about. Time management we talked about. That's a system. Okay, if you have good systems in place, if you had good beliefs, if you have good morals, people are going to trust you. They're going to want to work with you more than anything else. And if you bring that to the table, and and we even talk about having confidence. How do you have confidence, and how do you have empathy when you're in sales? That's where a coach can come in. And it's interesting. One of the things you've probably heard about this little guy by the name of Elon Musk. He has this little car company.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Elon Musk is a master of time management. If you asked him, Elon, what are you doing Thursday from 11 to 11:05? He will tell you. And quite frankly, that's what separates average producers from top producers.
Sure. It's in our everyday world at the law firm, clients will be detectives sometimes, potential clients, and they'll shop around, and we're never going to tell them what they want to hear just to get them to sign and have an issue in the end. A lot of times they'll ask, what's my case worth? You haven't even signed up yet, nor have you seen a doctor. We're a personal injury law firm. How will our attorneys evaluate what your case is worth? But there are firms out there that will tell them what it's worth or what it could be worth to get them to sign up, and then in the end they're dealing with a headache. We don't like headaches. We run a really clean business where clients come number one to us. Whether if we have to turn a client away because we can't meet eye to eye, we will. I'd rather have a great experience throughout the whole process and the end than a fake experience during the middle process, and when it comes to the money in the end, have a atomic bomb go off. So we're I don't want to say we're selective, but we're very open with our clients, and we don't just tell them what they want to hear. I guess you can say that the used car salesman approach. No disrespect to them, but some people are scared to walk into a car dealership because they don't want to get jumped on. People don't like walking into law firms either. They think they're just going to bill me everything. So you have to give them the customer service approach, and and that's what we are at Melman Law Group. But we use those skills. We've learned those skills over time. Mm-hmm. Through our past work history, through our experiences with dealing with people. It's not always about the bottom dollar. It really isn't, some people might think it's only about the bottom dollar, but those people that might be their only job is to think that, Mm-hmm. So, but it's not always about that. It's about the mutual connection, making sure it works, and in giving them the best possible outcome that makes sense, not a fake one that we can just, fabricate and then give them a nightmare in the end. Yeah. You have to trust who you work with, from the coaching, from the client. I guess give us a story where, somebody wanted your help and they couldn't take criticism. It just you tried to help them if you have one, and it didn't go anywhere. Like they couldn't accept that they could be helped. But would that person even ask you to help them?
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we do these workshops, the immediate results workshops, and so we're doing them over Zoom now,
Sure.
and which is great because now I can accommodate up to 100 people on the workshop.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I always ask everybody at the end, after presenting a few things that their sales leader would love for me to talk about, objections, prospecting, asking for referrals. Mm-hmm. That's a great way to grow your business. When you get a referral-based business,
Sure.
Holy smokes, that's by far
Huge.
the best way. So at the end, we always talk about coaching, but we don't arm twist anybody because we want people to make the commitment. And not every coaching program is the right fit for every person, mm-hmm. and not every person is the right fit for a coaching program. But we want to make sure it's a relationship-based. We want to understand where you're at, where you want to go, and if you have goals. And we go through goal setting. We go through navigating and the things that are important to help you. Again, gets back to one-on-one. Mm-hmm. But here's the biggest thing is that if people don't realize that they need help, they're never going to get it. And I call that pain. And without pain, people don't change.
Yeah, sure. That's very true. What do you guys, if somebody's like, this is awesome, they go through the initial workshop, you get assigned coach where you're doing one-on-one, like you'd said, you set up calls. Like, what does that look like moving forward? Where if someone's like, hey, what exactly do I, get out of this? We go over goal setting. We look at X, Y, and Z. How often are they, in contact with you so that, you're their resource? But how, what does that look like if someone's, hiring Southwestern to help them out? Let's, rock and roll. What does that look like kind of from there?
Sure. So our coaching program basically is 2 one-on-one calls every month, mm-hmm. and they're typically 45 to 50 minutes.
Sure.
I come in very prepared.
Right.
I'm a student of the game because when it comes to my schedule, I plan Sunday night. Mm-hmm. And this is for your audience. If there's anything I'd say, plan the week in front of you. Don't come in Monday morning and say, this is what I'm going to do. And this is where a coach will help people. Bill Gates has a coach. I was talking about Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people. The CEO for Google, he has a coach. Mm-hmm. Okay? So once people sign up for coaching with Southwestern Consulting, it's that one-on-one call. Then actually, I deliver a little bit more value. We send them videos based on the topic that we're talking about. So if we're talking about prospecting, we'll send them a video, 5 to 7 minutes every other day to kind of reinforce the topic, reinforce what we want them to know and understand to become better, to go from that average producer to become that top producer. So we do that. It's a 12-month commitment, because it's not like sticking your toe in the water and hoping, well, there's going to be a magic wand. Right. 3 months later, I'm gonna have this. It doesn't work that way.
Sure.
Think about some of the things like, your football season is basically, 5 or 6 months long, but NFL players, they spend 90% of their time preparing for 10% of what they're really going to do, and that's on the field. And that's where top producers really, really shine and grow their business. And actually, it's just not only their business, but we help people grow personally, and that's important to help them elevate both ways.
Sure. In 12 months, I mean, Google CEO, Elon, Bill Gates, they're probably on life care plans with these coaches, So when people think 12 months, that's a long time. What if I get it in 3? You're not going to get it in 3, most likely, if the other ones that are really getting it are having it forever, So I think, just to kind of level how reasonable it is, It's not just, take some steroids and you're going to have a 6-pack in a couple months, and you stop taking the steroids and you're going to keep having the 6-pack. I mean, some people can really push themselves just with their own, I guess, passion and their own themselves. Others, you got to surround yourself with people who you want to be like too. So make sure your surrounding is great, but also to have somebody in your ear, making sure you're held accountable, but also teamwork and coming together to talk about your issues that maybe you can talk to somebody about. I'm sure a lot of CEOs you talk to, there's things that they can't just talk to somebody about, like one of their coworkers or their parents. You're a professional in the field, and you need to speak to a professional. I think it's crucial for them to understand that too.
Right. I had I won't name him, but one of my clients down in Florida was telling me. He said, the biggest challenge I have right now is that the owner's daughter is a troublemaker within the organization.
Oh boy.
And he's like, Joe, I've never experienced this before. And he says, I can't go to the owner and explain to him that she's kind of stirring the pot and not a good asset for the team. How do we handle this? And those are things that having that outside voice, having that coach on your team, on your side, will really, truly make a difference.
Sure. And that's one scenario. Imagine how many scenarios come up daily. We had a couple interesting ones come up today, and it could have been handled either way. We try to handle things the right way. We lead by example. I believe that, we'll always jump in to help any team member, anytime, whatever they can do. I have to keep perfecting or working on, the art of delegation, understanding people are not you. There's a lot of different things. You can peel this onion, probably have 100 things come up, and you don't really think about them because during the hours of operation, you're thinking about the operation. So then you come home, you're with your family. But when do you think about how you improve or how you can improve your team and make it better? There isn't you're sleeping from, 10 till 6. So when do you have the time to think about how you can be better? So it's crucial to have something like this. People go to the gym every day and are into, their fitness, which is so good for their mind. But this is just another layer to help your mind, which can then help your relationships and your personal life and make that better. I think it's so crucial, and I'm really enjoying this episode specifically. I enjoy this stuff every day. We see it every day. Zach deals with it every day. This is what you live. And I think it's crucial for people to understand it's okay to ask for help, and no one's perfect, right?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I really focus on with a lot of leaders is that you have to spend at least 25% of your time working on your business, where they spend 100% working in their business. And sometimes it's tough and challenging to get past the weeds. And that's where a coach will help you do that.
Yeah, imagine how much more you can get done if you spent more time on your business and not in it.
Or just stepped back and looked at, what you're doing. Like if you don't know what you're doing day to day and what tasks you actually are doing, it's impossible to then change that schedule to say, hey, I need to focus on this, because you're just kind of caught in, the everyday, thing. Whereas a coach, if you look at it from a fitness perspective, as they break down, well, what are you eating? Like, when are you working out? How often are you working out? They break it down just as any other coach would do in a business, relationship. It's just a lot of people, they think they know it all, or they don't, trust who they're going into or whatnot. But you're never going to know unless you try. It's all about that connection and relationship to, bring two people together that are a good fit. Because like David was saying, we're all about that. If we don't feel like someone's on the same page as us, we don't want to bring them into the firm and or represent them just because we're not, kind of seeing eye to eye. Not every person is for every coach, and not every coach is for every person, right? So it's figuring that out and finding somebody you match up with,
Sure.
that type of thing.
For clients specifically, and then also as you grow, your vision's there for a business from year 1 to 3. And then, your team is there. But then as you have more people join, there's more personalities, there's more emotions, there's more great things too. It's not just always negative or neutral. How do you need to eventually be able to shift your mindset, I think, and to adjust to the scenario you're at now versus where you were 3 years ago. So I think that's probably an art that you help them with as well, I would think, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's crucial.
Yeah, and the one point I love that you just brought up is vision.
Right.
And without vision, people perish. And it's important for leaders especially to have a vision. I was working with Jeff Brown yesterday on our coaching call.
Right.
Jeff's a leader out in Seattle, Washington for a large mortgage company, and he's got numerous loan officers that report to him. He's responsible for operations. And he's like, I need to find a different way to communicate with them. And I said, you're continuing to serve. And that's what we do. We serve. You serve your clients as a law firm. I serve my clients as a professional sales and leadership coach. And Jeff wants to be a little bit better as a communicator. And so we threw out some ideas. Sure. And part of it is, not everything's perfect, but he needed to hear that outside perspective. And that's where a coach can help people.
Sure. Absolutely. Can't hurt to always have somebody come in there and look at the operation and make it better or give you advice on how they think it could be better. Doesn't mean you have to change every little thing, but it's nice to, just imagine, your business and let's say you're a restaurant or something and somebody comes in there and then they point out 25, 30 things that they saw from a different point of view that you don't see every day. You're in there every single day. You're not going to see everything. You're not going to see it. You're so used to it being a certain way. So you have to have the outside perspective come in my opinion, and look at it and make it better. If you want to be better, if you want to stay, the same, and eventually I think if you keep staying the same, you go down. In my opinion, you can't just always stay the same, either go up or down. That's you. But if you want to improve every day and be the best you can be to your team, to yourself, to your family, you got to keep working on yourself.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing I'd extend to your audience too, is that, I love doing the workshops. We don't charge for it.
Sure.
It's a 60 to 90 minute workshop. And so, if they want us to come out and do it in person, once we get past COVID, love to do it.
Sure.
But it's easier now with doing it over Zoom, where they're going to learn a little bit. And generally speaking, they're going to learn about 4 or 5 things that they can implement in their business tomorrow. That could be game changers.
Sure.
So
where would, if I, when we post our episode, where can people, if they're interested and learn more, is that going to your website? Is there a specific, link or person they should contact to be like, hey, I want to try this workshop out and, see what happens from there?
Sure. They can contact me directly.
Right.
It's www, and it's my first name, last name, SWC. It's Joe Noonan, Noonan, SWC.com.
Okay.
And that'll paint a picture for them what the workshop's all about. And again, it's customized. And so I'll invest some time with the leader, with the CEO, at least an hour to customize it, to make sure that it's really ready to go for their team, their audience, and make sure that we do a really good job. Because, we're getting zoomed out. People are talking about that. We're having too many meetings. I keep people highly engaged because it's accountability and it's fun. And it's not just, oh boy, here's another Zoom meeting.
Sure.
Another Zoom meeting. It's just, it doesn't work that way. In my opinion,
Sure.
It's about keeping people accountable. And I actually do a lot of research beforehand, before we have the workshop, and I know my audience. I know their names. I know a little bit about them. I even talk to the sales leader and say, hey, tell me a little bit about Zach. Where is Zach struggling? Or where do you think Zach has room for improvement? And try and help elevate even in that 60-minute window.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if your mindset is always, another Zoom meeting, you're going to kind of miss the opportunity. It's all about being open to, what opportunity can I take advantage of, especially because it's free. I think that's crazy as in and of itself that you're providing that much value, for an organization or team, that wouldn't take advantage of it. And everybody's maybe not ready for it, but, I'm just glad that, we've gotten connected and, at any point, if anybody ever asks or reaches out, I'm always very comfortable with not only Southwestern's background, but just, the relationship that, we have and whatnot. I think it's something everybody should definitely consider. It's not something for everybody to do or maybe right now, but at the end of the day, it's a workshop, that doesn't cost you anything, but you do want to be serious about moving in that direction. No one's there to waste anybody's time,
100%. No, I agree.
Yeah. Because if you're not moving forward, you're not moving at all, right?
You're right. It's true, No, but it was a great time. Anything you want to throw in before, we know where we can find you. We know where everybody can find you. Anything you want to throw in before we finish up here on your mind that we didn't discuss?
I'd just leave you with one final statement. Please. And that statement is, for people that own businesses, that that are leaders, that if you're really struggling, I'd welcome the phone call to just have a conversation. And I'm open to having a 15-minute conversation with folks because without pain, people don't change. Mm-hmm. Think about that. Why do you get a new car? Why do you get a new refrigerator? Because the car didn't work, because the air conditioner was not working. But if you're not selling, if you're not producing, if you're not fulfilling the things in your life, if you're working until 8 o'clock at night, that's painful. Without pain, people don't change.
Sure.
And that's why we get a coach, right?
And I think just one last thing about Joe, because a lot of people think, they're going to get, kind of sold on this and they're not, ready for it. But, when we first talked and you kind of explained everything, you've always been great about, hey, I'm here. If you need something and you want to take that next step, I welcome any, opportunity to chat. But there's no, we need you, because at the end of the day, it needs to be a fit for Southwestern as well. It's not automatic. So I don't want people to think, reaching out to Joe and having a conversation, it's simply just that. You never know what could come of it. So I would encourage, anybody listening to reach out, especially this is a very interesting time. With I'm sure people have a lot of different issues and questions and whatnot, and there's no better way to, I guess, move forward than, get somebody else's opinion that's not stressed out to the max that can kind of interject. So, sure. Definitely feel free to connect with Joe, and we'll have all of his information and whatnot in the post itself once, this video goes live. But we appreciate it, Joe, obviously coming on, sharing more about you and Southwestern. And just appreciate your time, obviously, as always.
Thank you, David.
It was great.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Zach.
you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.